I don't know about you, but I live out pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Like if I pan the camera over, you'd see cattails and swampland and deer. I can't go down to my local mom and pop coffee shop and see 16 entrepreneurs on their laptops. I'm not going to my co-working space. Like I work from home. I have a day job. So it's very isolating to work on a business. And so like especially a virtual mastermind where you can get onto a webcam and talk to other entrepreneurs, it's so freeing to be able to just get that feedback, have that sounding board.
Hey everybody, real quick before we get started, I want to tell you about a free resource that you can get over on howibuilt.it. And that is a PDF of 5 tools to help you build websites faster. This podcast is focused on helping you grow your business, and there's no better way than helping you with the right tools for the job, whether you are a web developer, a site builder, or you have your own business where you want to focus on content. These tools will help you. You can head over to howibuilt.it/168 and fill out the form to get that free PDF. Again, that is howibuilt.it/168. All right, now on with the show. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 168 of How I Built It, the podcast that asks, how did you build that? Let me tell you right off the bat, my business has grown from my mastermind group. And Ken Wallace, well, he really knows what he's talking about. If you need some extra business support, especially now, you're not alone. In fact, Ken has bet his own business on that fact. And in this episode, you'll learn what a mastermind group is, how it works, and some ideas for conducting your own mastermind group. And of course, Ken will tell you about Mastermind Jam, where he helps facilitate mastermind groups. And we'll get into all of that and more. There's a little bit of something for everyone. So we're going to dive in. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Ahrefs. Ahrefs is an all-in-one SEO toolset that solves that problem. It gives you the tools you need to rank your website in Google and get tons of search traffic. As someone who struggles with what kind of content to create or what's ranking best in Google or really anything SEO related, Ahrefs has been instrumental in increasing traffic to my website. Over the holidays, I had my best quarter for affiliate income because Ahrefs showed me my most popular pages and topics, and I was able to optimize my content and my gift guides and update them accordingly. I would have never updated one of my gift guides because I didn't think it was that popular. Ahrefs actually showed me it is my most popular page. Ahrefs makes competitive analysis easy as well. Their tools show you how your competitors are getting traffic from Google and why. You can see the pages and content that send them the most search traffic, find out exactly the keywords they're ranking for, and which backlinks are helping them rank. From there, you can replicate or improve on their strategies. Now, as I said, I don't think I'm getting significant search traffic, so I use Ahrefs tools to help find topics worth creating pages or content for. I can easily see estimated search volumes and gauge traffic potential with their Keyword Explorer tool. It's been a fantastic addition to my toolkit. Just this morning, I learned that my everyday carry post has been popular. Lots of people are coming. So I think it's time to update that because it's 5 years old. If you want to gain a following or just improve traffic to your website, Ahrefs is the tool for you. You can get a 7-day trial for $7 over at ahrefs.com. That's ahrefs.com for a 7-day trial for $7. And if you're anything like me, you'll be hooked. Again, that's ahrefs.com for a 7-day trial for $7. And now, back to the show. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of How I Built It, the podcast that asks, how did you build that? Today, my guest is Ken Wallace. He is the founder of Mastermind Jam, and we're going to be talking all about mastermind groups today. Ken, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. We have not seen each other since Cabo Press 2018, I believe. Is that right?
That's right. Getting sunburned in the pool in Cabo.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this past Cabo Press, a few people, myself included, got food poisoning. So, or we got some sort of food malady. I think I got the easiest of it. I know a few people were down and out for like a couple of days. So, um,
Oh, no.
yeah. So I don't often sunburn, so I don't handle sunburn very well either, though. Um, anyway, we're not here to talk about sunburn and food poisoning. We're here to talk about mastermind groups. And I wanted to have you on the show because the theme of this season is how freelancers and small business owners can grow their business to the next level. And I've had people on talking about vetting clients, building your email list, etc. And at least my mastermind group has been instrumental in helping me grow and consider new things. So we're going to talk about mastermind groups today. But first, why don't you talk about who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Ken Wallace. I'm the founder of Mastermind Jam, and I help online entrepreneurs, online business owners talk to one another about their business.
Nice. So Mastermind Jam, I should definitely know this because we've talked about this, but it's a place where you kind of facilitate mastermind groups, right?
That's correct. I help match founders into mastermind groups, and these are peer-led, peer-driven mastermind groups. And then I give them support for the entire life cycle of the mastermind journey. So from finding a group or creating a group, all the way through, the platform has built-in video conferencing and kind of meeting tools, and each group has its own private dedicated room where they can track notes from meeting to meeting, and they can keep track of their progress toward the goals that they committed to during their meetings, all right there in their private room. And then I also help them with kind of the life cycle of the group. As people's circumstances change, they might need to leave a group or join a different group, and I help with that whole process of advertising vacancies in a group and onboarding new members and allowing them to curate the group continuously over its life.
Wow, that's incredible. And as somebody who has been in a couple mastermind groups now, those tools, if you're not sure, I mean, those tools are incredibly helpful. Like having a room with kind of persistent notes. We've had a couple of people leave our current mastermind group, so trying to find somebody to replace that person that's a good fit, somebody who we think we can trust, right? But perhaps we're getting ahead of ourselves. How would you define mastermind group?
A mastermind group is just in a business sense. So there's a lot of different ways that people can use mastermind groups, right? But today we're talking about business mastermind groups, and they're simply a group of entrepreneurs who are joining together with the purpose of helping each other accomplish their goals. So it feels like a very generic, general term, but it's actually a really powerful concept where everybody's there for one purpose, and that's that all ships rise in the high tide. Everybody in this room, everybody in this meeting, we're going to help each other succeed.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, there are different types of mastermind groups. I've been part of a couple of health mastermind groups that were not necessarily as successful because accountability kind of over the internet once a month was not something that worked out as well. But, for the business mastermind groups, you kind of, the way we've treated ours at least is we kind of lay it out all on the table. We've signed a non-disclosure agreement so that we know that we can be completely open with our income, our expenses, our concerns, our future plans. And then the other members kind of give good constructive feedback.
That's right. That's exactly how these mastermind groups run as well. Everybody who joins Mastermind Jam agrees to confidentiality, and also to take responsibility for their execution. So, and that kind of has two phases. First of all, you're going to be getting a lot of feedback about your business, and some of it's actionable advice, and you might rush off to test something in your business, and so you own those consequences, good or bad. You realize that maybe you should test on a small sample of your email list before implementing that suggestion. Those kinds of things, and also. We celebrate wins together. So as long as everybody's executing on the vision, executing on the feedback they're getting, everybody's there to support you.
Yeah, that's great. So why would let's kind of start here. Why would I, as a small business owner, want to join a mastermind group, and who would I look for to be in my mastermind group with me? Should I find like my friends, or should it be people I don't really know that well who I'm going to get to know? What are the mechanics of that?
Well, the first thing that I suggest to entrepreneurs looking for a mastermind group is you need to survey your network first, not your friends, not your family, maybe not people at your church or your community, but like your network of other entrepreneurs. So if you're a local chamber of commerce, or you go to a lot of conferences, or you do a lot of local meetups like meetup.com, that kind of thing, the people that you met face-to-face, the entrepreneurs that you know, who of those are at a similar revenue level to you, running a similar kind of business with the same kind of momentum that you have? If you have a group of people that you know personally already, reach out to those people. Absolutely reach out to those people first. Some of the best mastermind groups that last the longest are those groups that meet locally. They go out for a beer every other Tuesday night, and they talk about their businesses open and honestly. Those kinds of groups are really hard to come by, though. A lot of people come to Mastermind Jam because they don't have that network. They don't have that long Rolodex of other entrepreneurs that are a similar revenue that they can reach out to. And a lot of them have been frustrated because they try the obvious things first, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go on to like a Facebook group, and you're going to make a post in an entrepreneur group that says, "Hey, who wants to be in a mastermind group with me?" And those groups tend to always fail. If they even go to a first meeting, they very rarely have multiple meetings. And the reason is, first of all, the Facebook algorithm just keeps pushing the newest post to the top, and so it's pushing your post down. Second of all, the first or second response that comes into that post, if you even get a response, influences the next responses you get. So if somebody who's totally not qualified to be in a group with you answers first, other people are going to look at that response and kind of judge the makeup of the group, even if you haven't said yes. The same kind of problem occurs if you go to a discussion forum or a Slack group where you're asking people, "Hey, who wants to be in a mastermind group? Raise your hand." Mm-hmm. You're skipping a crucial step, and that's the very foundational step of curation. Your group has to be well curated so you can trust the people that you're in the group with. You can be transparent and open and honest with them and get the right kind of feedback. You can't just take anybody who signs up. So I always tell people, if you don't have the deep Rolodex, if you don't have the community that you can just email somebody or reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday? Let's talk about business." A mastermind group can start with 2 people, and then you add 3, 4 to it. If you don't have that deep bench, then I suggest you pay attention to curation. If you're going to go to other platforms that you know of, other entrepreneurs, make sure you curate the people that are coming to you. Give them an application to fill out. At the very least, ask the uncomfortable question of, "What's your revenue?" And we can say, just top line gross monthly revenue. What was your gross revenue last month? You don't need to get into net and profit and things like that right off the bat. But you just need to get an idea of, okay, this guy's in e-commerce, I'm in e-commerce. This guy's in SaaS, I'm in SaaS. This guy does info products, I do info products. Or this person hasn't even started yet. They don't know what they want to do. They haven't made their first dollar online. Well, that's right where I'm at. So maybe this would be a good fit. But once you start mixing, you're gonna have bad times. Once you have, like, I always tell people, like, why would I want to be in a mastermind group with Mark Cuban, right? Why would I want to be in a group with, like, say, Rob Walling? Because they're at such a revenue level that I wouldn't be able to offer anything to them. I would be constantly taking in the relationship and never giving.
Gotcha. So you actually answered a question I was going to ask, which is, why is it important to be at similar revenue level, similar momentum, similar business? And it's so that you can each learn off each other, right? Like you said, if we were in a mastermind group with Mark Cuban, we don't have anything to teach Mark Cuban, probably, at least as far as growing his business. Right. So yeah,
what questions would he ask of us?
Right. Yeah. Like, how do I sell an ebook? He has somebody to do that.
Yeah.
So it would just be us basically being mentored by Mark Cuban. Right. Which I'm sure he charges just a lot of money for.
That's a valuable thing, by the way. If he offers that, absolutely. Sign up for that, right? Buy that course, buy that workshop, buy that mentorship. But that's not a mastermind group. Right.
A mastermind group, there is coaching and mentorship, of course. Our mutual friend, Chris Lemma, does that. But it's not the same. Your mastermind group should be people who, like you said, that you can work with and grow off of. And so let's say you have that mastermind group of, you said it could be 2 people. Is there an optimal? I have a number in mind, but is there like an optimal number for a mastermind group?
The groups that I put together, I tend to stay between 3 and 5, usually never more than 5. 4 is the sweet spot. Some groups just really prefer 3 people because they can get a meeting out of the way in an hour, right?
Okay.
Other groups, 4 people is the sweet spot because sometimes family comes up and one of them has to miss, but they still have enough people to make it productive. So that varies from group to group based on your situation and where you're at in business and where you're at in life. But for the kinds of groups that we're talking about, so that everybody has a chance to kind of weigh in, try to stay under 5.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smile and their product, Text Expander. Save time typing and boost your productivity with Text Expander. You know I'm all about automation, and Text Expander is a great way to get started with automation. It allows you to create your own snippets for repetitive text you tend to use everywhere. Add the text, create a snippet, and boom, save precious time and keystrokes. One of my favorite snippets is for my address. So instead of typing out my full address and risking typos, I simply type $ADDR, and Text Expander does the rest, filling in my full address for me. I also have snippets for my street, my city, and my zip code. But that's not all Text Expander does. With its advanced snippets, you can create fill-ins, pop-up fields, and more. You can even use JavaScript or AppleScript. Another one of my favorite and most used snippets is when I type PPT. That will take whatever text I have on my clipboard and convert it to plain text. So I'm no longer fighting formatting when I copy from a Word document, a Google Doc, or a plain HTML page, like a website. I also use it for common links, email messages, which I can completely customize with fill-ins and drop-down menus, and even date calculations. I'm currently writing a book, and Text Expander has been instrumental with that. Text Expander is available on macOS, Windows, Chrome, iPhone, and iPad, so pretty much anywhere you do computing. If you've been curious about trying Text Expander or automation in general, now's the time. As a listener, you can get 20% off your first year. Just visit textexpander.com/podcast and let them know How I Built It sent you. That's textexpander.com/podcast for 20% off your first year. And now, back to the show. So we've also changed our format a little bit. Are there a few different formats that you recommend? Is there one that you found works for you as far as how the meeting is run?
I found the same kind of formula works every time in that the meeting format depends on what meeting it is. So, for example, if it's your introductory meeting, first time you've ever met with these people, you're going to do what I call the round table, where everybody's going to go around and have a fairly equal amount of time to talk and evaluate each other. That might happen for the first 2-3 meetings, where you're just each taking 15 minutes of the hour to talk about what happened in your business. And then before the meeting wraps up, you're going to make sure to set a goal for the next meeting. But fairly quickly after that, within a month of being together, you should start scheduling hot seats. And that gives each person time to really go deep on their business, because it's frustrating if you're having these meetings, you're setting aside time out of your life to have these meetings, and you're not really going deep. Well, what's the point of all of it, right? So the hot seats really let you feel heard. Those things that you wish that you could talk to your spouse about that is just really weighing on your heart, like my wife will give me a blank stare as she's stirring a pot or something like that, or you're helping kids with homework, and I'm just the jerk that walks up and starts talking to her about Facebook ads. Right? Well, the mastermind group is probably a more appropriate place for that, where if it's my turn on the hot seat, I could spend 30 or 40 minutes going deep on just one specific hurdle or issue or decision that I've got coming up. Right? I'm not going to dump like my entire business at the feet of my mastermind group, but for that hot seat, I can go over one topic and get good feedback on that one topic. And it may not even be, hey, I don't know what to do, give me advice. A lot of times in a mastermind group, especially in a hot seat setting, you're getting just feedback. They're a sounding board. Like you might have laid out the three options that you have in front of you, right? You're at a fork in the road in your business. You got 3 paths to choose. You kind of already, your heart is telling you which way to go, but you don't have the confidence in the decision because you don't have experience with it. So you weigh all the pros and cons in front of your mastermind group, and they're going to tell you exactly what's on their mind and their experience with that. It could actually be, you're right. You had the right gut feeling about this. Go forward with that. Stop hedging. Or it might be, you got the totally wrong take. You missed this 4th path. You haven't thought this through. So that's the value of the mastermind group. It's not like a workshop. It's not like buying a course. It's feedback as well as advice.
Yeah, it's people helping you think through some decisions that you need to make, not in an echo chamber, and not just you necessarily going with your gut, right?
Right. It's so valuable just to have that sounding board.
Yeah.
Because a lot of I don't know about you, but I live out pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Like if I pan the camera over, you'd see cattails and swampland and deer, right? And so I'm not I can't go down to my local mom and pop coffee shop and see 16 entrepreneurs on their laptops, and I'm not going to my co-working space. Like I work from home, I have a day job, so it's very isolating to work on a business, and so. Especially a virtual mastermind where you can get onto a webcam and talk to other entrepreneurs, it's so freeing to be able to just get that feedback, have that sounding board.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I live outside of Philadelphia. We have a couple of active meetup groups, so I certainly could do that. But most of the time, I am recording courses or podcasts, and I can't go to a co-working space or a coffee shop to do that. So I am more often than not at home too.
Right.
And so, yeah, that mastermind group is personal interaction with people who, understand my business. Like you said, I'll talk to my wife and she'll be like, "That sounds nice." She'll listen, but
right.
It's like when she's a nurse. She tells me about a very long word that I don't understand. I can't really offer her advice. Maybe you should have did this other procedure. I don't know.
Right.
So absolutely super important. So you mentioned that the hot seat format is a good one. So that's basically each meeting is given to one of the members, right? With maybe quick updates on your goals or whatever from the others.
That's right. So you everybody says hi, gives a quick update on what their progress was on the previous goal statement from the previous meeting, and then right into the hot seat. And at the end of the meeting, still people state their goals. That's just, leave 5-6 minutes at the end so everybody can go around and state a goal and leave a little time for some pushback if you say you're going to solve world hunger or something before the end of the meeting. Don't drop any weird bombs like that. But yeah, that's exactly right. And you might find that the group oscillates between kind of a round table, just a check-in, just an accountability. Hey, we're still plowing through, but it's just yet another week. We're on week 10 of the year, and still doing the thing. And that's the update. I don't have a hurdle. It's just more of managing my team or writing the blog post or whatever it is that you're facing that week. So sometimes it's nice to take a break from hot seats and just go back to round table because you still get the accountability. You still get that look in the eye from other people to know that they're still with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've even used ours as a way to, we'll pick a topic to talk about that's kind of like, learning or whatever.
Yes.
So yeah,
that's the pro level. That's the next advanced level. I was just going to get to that.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sorry to steal your thunder. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit. You're definitely going to elaborate better than I was going to.
Well, there's two more formats that I encourage, and so the first one was the round table. The second one was hot seat. The third format is the topic-based format, where we focus on a specific topic area for the meeting. And that can be anything. Like I've had groups that will do a Zoom call like this, and they'll share screen and they'll watch a YouTube video together of like Dan Martell or whatever, and they'll discuss it. Or almost like a book club kind of thing, where it's like let's just get a clip, like 10 minutes of this thing, and let's discuss how it applies to each of our businesses, and then what are our takeaways from there. So that's the third one. The fourth one is actually if you get to a point and mastermind groups often get to this point where no one has the answer for the thing that you're struggling with. And especially because you're all at the same revenue level, you're all working on a similar kind of thing, you're all peers, sometimes it feels like the blind leading the blind. But there's an outlet for that. And the outlet is not to invite Mark Cuban to be part of your group, but it's to go out and get a coach for that issue. And invite them, like go to Clarity or the Mastermind Jam coaching marketplace or growthmentors.com or any number of other avenues where you can hire a coach, split the cost up 3 or 4 ways among the people in your group. Now it's a lot more affordable, but you're getting hands-on actionable advice about that issue in each of your businesses. So, and do the coaching call together. And share a screen. Okay, this is what my Facebook ads manager looks like. Can you help me through this? Or this is what my Stripe dashboard looks like right now. Can you help me figure out the coupon issue I'm having? Or, whatever the hands-on kind of thing is that you're going through in your business. Hire a coach, find a good coach that can help you through that and work out a plan. Get your mastermind group on that call together so you're each learning from each other's hurdle. Because, if member 2 is not at that same hurdle today, they might be tomorrow, and vice versa. So that same coach can give everybody feedback around the group. And really, it's a really great way to get hands-on expert input into your business without like going full bore into like mentorship or, hiring a business coach or having a team, like a team of consultants come in and swoop in and tell you how to fix things. It's a lot more affordable. But it's also a lot more specific than reading blog posts or buying a course. There's nothing wrong with blog posts and courses and workshops, but sometimes they're general, right? And they have to be because, like, if you're teaching a workshop, you're in front of a room of 100 entrepreneurs. You kind of have to fly at a higher level, and you don't have time to take Janet aside and Jim aside and Bob aside and Jamal aside and help them with each of their struggles. So if you hire a coach to come into your group, now you've got them for one meeting to give you a plan of action, and then maybe you wait 2 or 3 weeks and you hire them to come back for a follow-up and say, hey, Dan, I did what you told me to do, and this happened and that was great, but this other thing happened that I wasn't expecting. How do I work through that? What's your advice? That kind of working relationship is also kind of baby steps into getting you into a mindset where you're coachable, where someday you can hire that business coach and get a lot more out of it. But in the short term, you're definitely just clearing hurdles, pushing hurdles out of the way, and you're not letting anything stand in your way.
Yeah. Wow. That is fantastic. That last one never really crossed my mind. But I mean, because a good coach can be a few $100 for like an hour or more.
Yeah, way
Several
more. Yeah.
$100. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you and I both know one that goes for about $3,000 an hour. So
yeah, right.
it's yeah, and wherever you start as far as the monetary price, I mean,
Right.
if you just need help with your Google ad, that might be a little less expensive than somebody
Right.
giving you a strategy to launch your two-sided marketplace. Whatever it is you're struggling with, finding a coach appropriate for that, but try to be specific for the call so that, you can fit it into like 2 hours, 1 hour, whatever it might be. And then split that cost up. In Mastermind Jam, we have a coaching marketplace where you can just click on a coach and click book. And everybody in your mastermind group can each pay for their portion. So you don't have to figure out who pays for it and who gets paid back, all that stuff. But if you're not in Mastermind Jam, that's fine. If you're doing this on your own, just go to like clarity.fm, Growth Mentors. There's a number of these kind of things where you can hire a coach to take a look at what you're doing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so you mentioned Clarity and Growth Mentors specifically. I'll put those in the show notes for this episode, which you can find over at howibuilt.it. But let's talk about Mastermind Jam now, right? We're like about halfway or more, about 2/3 through this conversation. And we've got all the setup. We've got kind of how to find a mastermind group, how to structure it. There are certain tools around building a mastermind group, right? I pay for Zoom every year, essentially, I mean, for this, but also for the mastermind group. We use Google Docs to manage our goals and things like that. But Mastermind Jam offers all of that in one kind of suite of products. Is that right?
Yeah. You basically, all you have to concentrate on is finding the right group for you. And then all of the rest of that housekeeping stuff, the secretarial stuff, is taken care of. So there's a place to track all your notes. From meeting to meeting, you can cycle back through them to see what was it we talked about last week. What was that link? You can see each other's notes. There's goals, so you can see each other updating their goals and accomplishing their goals. And Mastermind Jam acts as kind of the nanny of the group. So Mastermind Jam follows up with each member between meetings to make sure they're on track to accomplish their goal by the next meeting. It's like, hey, Joe, you committed to having that one blog post done by the next time we talk. You're meeting in 3 days. Are you on track for that? Right? Which is important so you don't waste your group's time if you got a hot seat coming up to talk about a goal that you haven't even started on, right? So you can give people a heads up, hey, anybody else want to take this hot seat? Otherwise, let's just reconfigure the next meeting for, a round table. And then when you're in the call, it's a button click away. You just click join the meeting. You're in the meeting just like you and I are talking, but it's in your browser. And there's a lot of, Mastermind Jam's not novel in browser video conferencing, right? There's a ton of those up here or whatever, but it's built into the Mastermind Jam platform. You don't have to have another tab open. You don't have to have a tab for your meeting and a tab for Google Doc and, all this other stuff. It's just right there. And you don't have to take your eyes off the screen. So as I'm looking for you, I could be typing in my notes because it's right under the people talking. My goals are right under the people talking. The date and time of the next meeting is right under the people that are talking. And there's a meeting countdown timer. So it keeps track of how much time each person has spoken for during the meeting and how much time's left in your meeting. So it's trying to, without being too kind of militaristic about it and like turning off people's microphones after 15 minutes or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It tries to gently enforce the format of the meeting. But it's also flexible. So these are all like settings. So if our roundtable talks are, 25 minutes a person versus that other group likes to go 15 minutes a person, you can just set that all up in the meeting settings. Or if your hot seat sessions are 45 minutes a person with 5 minutes for each other person, just put it in the settings and away you go.
Yeah, that's great, right? Especially if you don't have somebody in the group who is in charge of that, right? We actually just lost our person who is in charge of that. And so I am very distractible, and I'm not great at running meetings. I'm good at being the class clown of the meeting. So having a tool like that would be hugely helpful.
I can't take everything off the table. Like you still have to go to the meeting and turn on your camera and talk. Right. So there are some people that's already a deal breaker. They don't want to, like, I've had people try to sign up but they don't want to upload a profile photo. They don't want to be on camera. I'm like, all right, we're going to have problems here. Here's your money back. Yeah. If you can do what you and I are doing right now, then you're a great fit for Mastermind Jam, because you just turn on the camera and talk and let the housekeeping stuff be done by the system, right? Nobody's got to be in charge. Nobody's got to be the secretary. Like, what happens when that person's sick or leaves the group or whatever? It's just a hassle. Nobody wants that burden. So it's also flexible for groups where, one person is kind of type A and wants all that control. So, I try to be flexible, but still provide the tools to kind of eliminate all the hurdles. Because the bigger hurdle is keeping progress going from week to week. That's what you should be concentrating on. You shouldn't be thinking about the Google Doc.
Yeah.
Because like for your Mastermind group outside of Mastermind Jam, like if you wanted to know what your meeting notes were from 3 meetings ago, you'd have to stop and think about it a little bit, right?
Yeah. Right.
I've heard some people, like, they just have one Google Doc for the life of their Mastermind group. They just keep adding pages to it. So you just have to scroll up. The problem is at the start of the meeting, you got to scroll down, right? Get a new page, right?
Yep.
So I was trying to make this better. Just make it better. But also be there for the life of the group. A lot of people are like, wow, why would I pay for this? Because I can find entrepreneurs. And the other thing is, okay, we try to make it easy by just eliminating all those, like, we just give you the table stakes, right? But also, people forget that these groups have a lifespan. Like, you're not going to be with the same group not usually, for 6 or 7 years. The average group is 18 to 24 months, right? So what happens when member number 4 has a baby and it stops working on their business? Now, we kind of liked having 4 people in our group. Let's post a vacancy for that seat. But don't just let anybody sit down in that seat. This isn't like an online poker tournament, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be able to vet. So, okay, now I've got 6 people applied to be in that seat. And so the platform gives you like a compare tool, like going to Best Buy and comparing video cameras, right?
Yeah.
You see all, like, again, when you sign up, you're filling out a profile. So you can kind of compare your profiles and see, would this person be a good fit? Do their strengths complement our strengths and weaknesses? What about their revenue? What about, all these things? All the way down to personal questions like, do they have a day job? Is their business bootstrapped or is it VC funded? Are they married? Do they have kids, small kids running around? Like, not that matters, other than it kind of gives you a feel for how much momentum they can make month in and month out on their business. Like a kid who's just eating ramen and sharing an apartment in San Francisco with 6 other entrepreneurs, they're going to make tremendous progress versus like you and me. We've got kids and lives, and it's like, not that one is better than the other. It's just that you just got to know and match up.
Yeah, your time.
Match up.
Your time is naturally, unless you just ignore your family, your time is divided between a couple of things versus, right out of college, I would work all hours of the night on my business doing all whatever because it was fun or whatever. But now I want to go to bed at 10 because my daughter woke me up at 6.
Right. And then there's messaging involved in all of that too. So if you just want to reach out to an applicant and ask them a question about something you saw on their profile before you accept them, you can do all that. And it's all visible to the other members of the group too. So everybody has a chance to weigh in and think about it and consider the applicants to your group.
This episode is brought to you by Creator Courses. Do you feel confused and overwhelmed by the amount of tools to help you build websites? Are you worried that you are not using the best tools for the job? Do you feel like you ought to spend more time building and less time researching? Like you, I thought I needed to learn every tool, language, and platform under the sun to be a good web professional. And as somebody who's been doing this for 17 years, I can now tell you, you don't. Creator Courses offers short, focused courses, tutorials, and webinars to help you learn the right tools quickly. Then you don't have to waste any more time researching, and you can get back to producing billable work, confident that you've made the right choice. And now you can access all of those resources by becoming a Creator Courses member. You'll be able to take any course we offer, including member-exclusive mini courses on how to use specific tools. You'll also join a great community, and listeners can get 15% off the already low price by going to creatorcourses.com/build. Spend less time researching and more time building. Visit creatorcourses.com/build today. So that's truly fantastic. I mean, to be honest, I thought that was the main part of Mastermind Jam. And I feel like I should have known all of the other parts because we've talked about Mastermind Jam, and there was
It's been a couple years since we talked about it.
Yeah, that's true. There was an offer
frankly,
for Cabo Press alum too.
Yeah.
That's
true. Yeah. And the other thing that Mastermind Jam has that there are a couple competitors out there that simply offer a meeting room for your mastermind group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can give you a URL for a place to go. If you don't need all the stuff that I'm talking about, that's fine. If you just want like a one-stop shop place with a video chat and some note-taking ability, there's an app for that, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that Mastermind Jam does that's better than the competition is helps you get answers. Helps you make relentless progress on your business because you're getting answers. So we have, if you come up empty in your group for an answer on a hurdle that you're facing, like I said, you can hire a coach. Mastermind Jam has coaches built in, but you can also invite a coach from outside of Mastermind Jam to just sit in on a meeting or two, right? You can invite external people into your group for a short-term basis. They don't have to become members or any of that stuff. It's just like a deep link. The other thing that we do is we have a community. So when you update your recent wins or recent hurdles in your business, the whole community sees it. They see it right there on the community dashboard when they log on. They see it in the weekly newsletter, and people can celebrate with you. And if you're having a hurdle that somebody knows how to fix, they can reach out to you, even if they're not in your group. So people can show support in a number of ways just through the entire community. And then there's a discussion forum as well. So if you have a topic that you want to discuss before you go out and hire a coach about it, maybe it's something simple with taxes this year or something, you want to know how other people are handling it in their business, you can post that topic and get answers from other entrepreneurs in the discussion forum. And the nice thing about that is, unlike Facebook, unlike LinkedIn or other discussion forums, when somebody answers, you can click on their profile and see all those same facets as if they're applying to be part of your group. You can kind of vet the nature of this answer. Does this person have a background that suggests they know what they're talking about in this respect, right? That's a lot that's missing from anonymous social networks like Twitter and
Right.
LinkedIn and things. Like even LinkedIn, there's some things you aren't going to put on LinkedIn. Right? That I ask about as part of Mastermind Jam. So
yeah, that's great. And I mean, like with Twitter, like I've made this mistake more than once where I've like asked like an accounting question and expected only accountants to respond, but it's like, this is what I think. And I'm like, well, why are you qualified to even answer that? So that is truly fantastic. It's almost like you have like your classroom, which is your mastermind group, and then you have the entire school campus.
That's right.
Which you can also interact with. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then like you said, you have a list of coaches, lots of really great people on this list of coaches. I see Chris Badgett, former guest, John Doherty, former guest. Big fans of those guys and everything they're doing. It like you said, it's more Mastermind Jam is more than just a meeting room, right? It's a community of other entrepreneurs, which is the real value proposition there. So so that's great. We're coming up on time here, and so I do want to ask you if we have convinced somebody today to start a mastermind group, what are the first 2 or 3 things that they should do to get started? I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, but just like 1, 2, 3, here's what you need to do if you want to start your own mastermind group.
If you want to start your own mastermind group, first of all, go to mastermindjam.com. And in the blog, I have a list of questions that you can ask people that you're interviewing to be part of your group. And I have questions that you should ask somebody if you're joining a group that already exists. And then I have another 11 questions that you should ask if you're starting your own group from scratch. And I give those away for free. It's not a big deal. So if you want to put together a group of your own, and the questions are ranked by priority, you could put together a type form or just a Google form and ask people that are applying to be part of your group these questions. And then you can vet them on your own. So you could go and post your application in your favorite Facebook group or your favorite discussion forum, and get people to apply to be part of a mastermind group with you. And then if you're smart, then you can give back to your community for the extra people that you don't want in your group. Offer to match them to each other, introduce them to each other, and see if they want to take a next step. Even if they're not a good fit for you, karma's on your side if you help them find what they're looking for as well.
Nice. Well, I found that article, or that really 3-part series. I will link to that again in the show notes over at howibuilt.it. And if somebody does want to start a mastermind group today, what's one question that they should ask themselves as far as what do I want to get out of this? Should they have a specific goal in mind, or should it just be I want to grow my business?
They need to ask themselves is, am I looking for a blueprint? Am I looking for someone to take me by the hand and show me the way? Or am I looking for someone just to get feedback from and bounce ideas off of? Because if you're looking for the way, if you're looking for the plan, if you're looking for the blueprint, I'm sure you can suggest a lot of courses and workshops that people can take part in, right? A mastermind group isn't necessarily going to give you what you want there. Even if you found some way to convince Mark Cuban to join your mastermind group, that's not going to give you what you're looking for. But if what you're looking for is a sense of community, a sense of being heard, a sense of being able to talk over an issue with a group of people that understand you and what your goals are and what your business is doing currently, and you don't have to reintroduce yourself every time that you have this conversation. You can pick up where you left off the last time. If all of that sounds great to you, then a mastermind group is perfect for you. No matter if you make it yourself or go through Mastermind Jam or one of my other awesome competitors. I think a mastermind group definitely can work for you if you're looking for that kind of feedback.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Because they definitely do serve two different purposes there. So that's great. If you want to start your own mastermind group, I will link to mastermindjam.com to the group formula, the 3-part series. You should ask yourself if you're looking for a blueprint, somebody to show you the way, because that is a different relationship than what a mastermind group is, which is I want feedback and ideas, and I want a sounding board. That's fantastic. Ken, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I do need to ask you my favorite question, which is, do you have any trade secrets for us?
I think the number one secret that's shown itself to me in the last 5 years is that the product that you're selling isn't necessarily the product that you're selling. People may be coming to you to buy something that may be different than what you envision in your head as what you're selling. So you have to understand your customers better to really understand what the outcome is that they're looking to get when they buy your product. And so that influences the way you price your product and the way you position your product and the language you use everywhere you talk about your product.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, because even in software, right? The way I build my software product might be different from the way people use it. They might use it in a way I would have never thought of.
Right. That's exactly right.
That's fantastic. What a great trade secret to end on. Ken Wallace, thanks so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter. I am Boticus on Twitter. A long story on that handle, but BOATICUS is me on Twitter, or Ken at mastermindjam.com. I am happy to answer your emails and answer your questions.
Awesome. I will link to those two things and everything we talked about in the show notes. Once again, that link is going to be over at howibuilt.it. Ken, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks so much to Ken for joining us today and for imparting such great knowledge. I am 100% stealing some of those ideas. My favorite was, kind of splitting the bill to have an expert or a coach spend an hour with your mastermind group. So you're taking that price and you're dividing it by the numbers in your mastermind group, which I think is just fantastic. And then I will link to everything that he talked about, the starting your own and how to find him and all of that, over at the show notes at howibuilt.it. You'll also be able to find a link to a free PDF, or a way to get a free PDF for how to build websites faster. So definitely check all of those out. Thanks to our sponsors, Ahrefs and Text Expander. I've been talking about them for a long time now, and I'm just such a big fan of both of those products. I use them every day. So definitely stop by, tell them I sent you, and thank them for their support of this show. And thanks so much to you for listening. If you liked this episode, be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. And until next time, get out there and build something.